So you are doing all the things, everything it feels like, and you are still seeing slow growth or no growth, and you are sick and tired of it. Well, guess what? I got you, friend. I'm here to tell you the 5 most common mistakes that I see with my side hustling sisters, and more importantly, how you can fix them fast. Now, I have never heard anybody start a small business because they just wanted another job. Most people who start a small business are doing so because they need to make extra money, or because they maybe want to replace their full-time income because they want to fire their boss. I know exactly what you're talking about. When I started my business almost 10 years ago, I was a school counselor, I was working full-time, I was driving across town, and I was paying other people to take care of my kids when I was taking care of other people's kids. And it just wasn't sitting well with me. I loved the work that I was doing, but I knew that I needed to make more money. In the education world, you might have to work 25 or 30 years before you can finally comfortably cross over that 6-figure mark. And the way this inflation is inflating, that does not work for me. But like a lot of people, when I started my business, I wasn't turning a profit for the first couple of years. I would make a little money here, a little money there, but it was nothing consistent, and it was nothing that would have allowed me to leave my full-time job for sure. But after 10 years in the game and having made over $500,000 in my own business and helping other people to generate that and then some, it is clear to me that there are a couple of common mistakes that I see people making. And if you can correct these, you will be able to turn a profit quickly and consistently. So the first mistake that I see people making in their business is they are waiting for customers to find them. Now, you know, if you've watched any of my other videos, I firmly believe in having an attraction-based marketing system, but that's not what I see most small business owners doing. I see them decide to start a business, decide to launch a product or a service. They'll put up a couple of posts on social media with their own, to their own friends or family members that they're connected to, and then they just kind of wait. Crickets is what they usually get. You might get a few people who buy from you because they want to support your dream. You might get a few people who will pass you along or share some other potential opportunities with you. But if you don't have a system for generating leads into your business, you are not going to have consistent sales. So what do I mean by that? A lead is someone who's a potential customer for your business. And you want to have a system that is generating leads on a consistent basis for you. It's not at all uncommon to need 5, 10, 15, 20, maybe even 100 or more people to see your product before you get one sale. So if you only have the same 150, 250, or 1,000 people on your Facebook page seeing your same post over and over and over again, you're not going to get more sales. If you are encountering the same people every day at your job or in your community, you're not going to get enough sales. There's billions of people in this world, but you got to have a system for getting in front of the right people for your business. I know the old saying is, if you build it, they will come, but that's not true. Honestly, if you build it and they know about it and they want it and they have the money and they are ready, then they might come. But the truth of the matter is, if you're just throwing up your business and expecting people to show up, you're not going to have the success you could. It's really one of my pet peeves when I see people say, all you have to do is this, and this, and you'll have $5,000 a month. Yeah, if you have an existing audience that's ready to buy, you can definitely just put up a product and start making money really easily. But if you have to build an audience, you got to have a system for how you get in front of those people and convert them into sales. And my personal preference with this is to have a system that is clearly finding you the right customers, meaning people who have the problem that your product or service solves and are ready to pay for it. Which brings us to mistake number 2, which is trying to do what? Trying to serve everybody. I have been here. I bought the t-shirt. I am telling you. When you start a business, you are so excited about the opportunity that this business brings. You know that you're going to be able to help so many people, and you just want everybody to have access to this thing that you created. But that's not the way that it works. Everybody is not your target customer. I firmly believe that there is someone for every product, but that doesn't mean every product is for everyone. So you have to know who your particular customer is. Now, you might call this a niche or a niche, however you want to say it, but basically it's just your perfect customer, that person who has all the characteristics that you want to work with, who has the problem that your product or service solves, who is actively looking for the solution to their problem that they have, who has enough money to pay for the solution for that problem that they have. That is your perfect customer. If you need help finding out who your perfect customer is, make sure you check the description box below for my Perfect 10 worksheet, because knowing who your niche is, knowing who you are serving, that is critical. The key here is you don't want to focus on talking to everyone, because if you're talking to everyone, it's going to go over everyone's head. You might get a few likes, you might even occasionally get a share, but you're not going to get sales. And we're not all about vanity metrics when we're talking about creating a business, unless you just want to be a particular influencer and you just want to have a lot of followers for fun. You want to actually get paid from people wanting to talk to you, or from people following you, or from people listening to you. So if you want to get paid, you got to make sure that people are actually willing to take action. When you're talking to your Perfect 10 customer, some people are actually going to be like, oh, that don't apply to me. And they're not going to want to engage with your content. They're not going to pay attention to you. They're going to just turn you off. That's not a bad thing. Every time I send my emails, I send emails to my list every single week, sometimes multiple times per week. And at the end of every week, I have lost at least a couple subscribers. Guess what? I'm good with that. And the reason I'm good with that is I don't want anybody on my list who's not interested in starting or growing a business, because that's what I'm talking about. And so if they got on my list because they were interested in starting or growing a business, and now they're not, or maybe their business has grown and they're no longer interested, they have no reason to be on my list. So I know that in order to connect well with my customers, I'm also going to have to turn some people off. And how do I know that? Because in addition to seeing people unsubscribe from my list every single week, I see people subscribe every single week. And if you focus your efforts on talking specifically to your perfect customer, you will see the same. Now, while we're at it, I just threw out a couple things there that you might not even really be familiar with, because the number 3 mistake that I see most small business owners and side hustlers making is that they're not tracking their numbers. When I first started my business, The Profit was a really popular show, and Shark Tank was really popular shows. And so as I was starting to grow my business, me and my girls would sit on the sofa every Friday night, or every Tuesday night, I think The Profit was, and we would watch that every single time it came out. And one of the things that they always ask is, tell me about your numbers. And the reason they want to know about your numbers is because that's the only way you can actually tell if your business is growing or not. Before you're going to have increased sales, you're going to have increased traffic. So you've got to know your numbers. Most small business owners, most side hustlers, they have no idea how many people they need to get in front of to get that first sale. They have no idea how many people are opening their emails. In most instances, they have no idea what they even make, because they're not tracking their income and expenses. So you absolutely have to know your numbers. Now, I know sometimes when we start talking about numbers, we can actually get a little funny. Like if you have a history of poverty, or you have any money trauma or anything like that, just even talking about money can be stressful for you. But even if you are brand new to business, you have got to know these 3 numbers. Number 1, your cash flow. Number 2, your profit. And number 3, your conversion rates. When I say cash flow, I mean the amount of money that you have coming in on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis, and the amount of money going out on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. That's going to tell you whether or not your business is what? Profitable, right? And if you're not profitable, you don't have a business. You have a hobby, but you don't have a business. If you're just breaking even, you have a nonprofit, but that is not why you started your business. You started so that you could make money. So you got to know what your profit is. Now, your profit is just simply the amount of money that you have coming in minus the amount of money going out. And that number should be a positive number, not one with a little minus sign in front of it. There are lots of things that can make your business more profitable. So decreasing your expenses is one, increasing your prices is another. But you've got to know what those are so that you have a business that is sustainable. So many small business owners, so many side hustlers are just excited to finally get a little bit of money coming in, but they don't pay attention to what is going out. And so they never actually turn a profit. And that is why most small business owners never make it past $50,000 a year, and most will not be able to stay in business past year 5. Now, conversion rates is a number you probably haven't even thought about, but a conversion rate is the number that symbolizes how many people you have to get in front of before they actually become a sale, right? So in general, if you have an online business, for example, having a conversion rate of 5 to 10% is exceptional. If you can get up to 20%, it's phenomenal, right? But most people don't know that because they've never tracked that. So how can you use a conversion rate, for example? Let's say I know that if I can get in front of 1,000 people, I'm gonna probably get 5 sales. Okay, let's say that I know if I can get in front of 1,000 qualified leads, I'm gonna get 5 sales. And my product is $500. That means for every 1,000 people I get in front of who are a qualified lead, I'm gonna make $2,500. I can then decide how much money I want to spend to get those 1,000 people to see my product. Anything under $2,500 means I'm turning a profit, right? So sure, I might be spending $10 a day on ads or $20 a day on ads, but if I know that I can get a $2,500 profit, bet, let's go for it. Some people will spend upwards of $1,000 to make $2,000 because they know how much their conversion rates are. So your action item for today, I want you to look at your numbers, right? I want you to open that banking app. I want you to pull out a cute journal. I want you to write down some numbers, and I want you to get a clear picture of the health of your business. Do you have too much money going out and not enough coming in? Or are you actually profitable? Do you have good sales, but it's taken too many people to convert and maybe you need to tweak your marketing message? I want you to look at your numbers and know them so that you can decide what you need to do to bring in more money. And if that feels overwhelming to you, that's gonna bring me to point number 4, which is stop trying to be a jack of all trades. You do not have to do all of this by yourself. There are people and programs that can actually help you so that you are not trying to figure it all out on your own. One of the reasons why I promote the digital course that I do is because it literally walks you step by step through all the things that you need to be doing for your business. But you know what I'm also a fan of? Hiring people to do things for me. Last year, I signed a contract with a nonprofit to create some content for them. They wanted to have a podcast created, and I was happy to create that for them. I, however, did not have any desire to learn how to edit a podcast. I had no desire to spend $1,000 to create a podcast studio in my home. So what I did was I did the research. I could have someone for less than $1,000. I could have someone professionally edit everything, putting all my sound in, my clips, everything, and send it over to me without me having to be worried about doing any of it at all. So all I had to do was write the content and schedule the time to go to the recording studio. And it was so helpful for me. And to be really honest, it actually was more profitable that way because the amount of time it would have taken me to figure it out and the quality of the product that I would have produced would not have got them to re-sign the contract with me the following year. And sometimes you can't hire a person, or sometimes you don't even need to hire a person, or maybe you're saying like, hey, I'm not in a position financially where I can afford that. Sometimes you can hire a product by buying a particular service. It's one of the great things about having a business now, because we have access to so many tools and resources and so many startups who are constantly trying to make it easier to do business. Chances are there's a program or a website or an app that will do the thing that you needed to do. You just have to make the time to look for it. So, a couple rules of thumb I have for when it's time to hire a person or a program. Number 1, if you're doing it more than once in your business, you've got to look for a way to automate it. That's generally going to be a program, and so I'll always start there first. And number 2, if it's going to cost me more in my time than it will to pay someone else to do it, I am hiring that out. Now, I know very clearly what my hourly rate is, so it's very easy for me to know that number. When you're first starting out, that might be a little bit tougher, but because you are now looking at your numbers, you absolutely know what you should be making on the hour or what you want to be making on the hour, and you know what it's costing you to do different things, so you can make that decision a little bit easier. And then the last one, but certainly not least, probably one of the biggest mistakes in our busy digital space right now for small business owners and side hustlers, which is costing them thousands of dollars, is getting distracted. You are you are getting caught up in shiny object syndrome. You are trying to do what all the gurus are telling you to do. You are following so many experts and on so many email lists. You have no idea what you're supposed to do, and you just are never doing anything consistently. Listen, you have got to have a clear, concise plan, and you've got to work it consistently for at least 60 days so that you can get data, numbers that you can actually track to know what is and what isn't working. If you posted a bunch for 1 week and didn't get any sale, you can't just quit. You've got to nurture your audience. This is one of the reasons why email marketing or text message marketing is so important for small business owners. It can take 7 to 21 touches with a potential customer before they're actually ready to trust you. Because there are so many spammers and scammers out here doing the devil's work and tricking people out of their money, it takes a little bit more sometimes for people to trust you. This is why I love having a nurturing sequence built into my business. I have a way for people to find me, get to know me, get to like me, get to trust me, hear about my product or service, hear about the way that I do my business, get nurtured by me, get information from me, and then purchase from me. And I've got a system generating interest in that every single day so that every day I've got an opportunity to make money. There's a little like cartoon graphic that I like where there's like two people that are trying to pick through underground to get to this one thing. And the one person gives up right before he gets there, and the other person just swings their pickaxe one more time and is able to break through. The key there is it's consistent action taken in the right direction that's going to get you the results. So if you don't have a system, that's what I want you to focus on right now. I obviously encourage you to check out my digital course because it does give you an outline system, step by step, of all the things that you need to build your business from the ground up. And so you can go back and just kind of audit yourself. Like, hey, did I do this? Did I do this? Did I do this? What I found when I went through the course is there was just a couple little tweaks of things that I needed in the beginning stages, but I zoned in on my marketing piece. I zoned in on that driving traffic piece because that was the one that I knew I personally was missing. So you can do all of that with this one course. And if you purchase through me, remember, you get access to me. So you get my weekly mentoring, my support to help you with your business ideas. I'm gonna give you a bonus tip in just a second, but I wanna make sure I stop here for just a minute to give you a little word of encouragement. Maybe you went through this list and you're like, girl, I'm doing all 5 of those things. I'm making all 5 of these mistakes. How am I ever gonna get this figured out? Here's what I want you to know. The great thing about all 5 of these things is that they are totally fixable. And most of them can be fixed today. Now that doesn't mean I want you to try and fix all of them today, but I want you to know that they are all completely fixable. Here's the truth. So many of these things are completely fixable. And most people who struggle with their small business, with their side hustle, they don't fail because they don't have a good product. They don't fail because they don't have a good service. They don't fail because they don't know what they're doing in their particular area of business. In general, when I see side hustlers struggling, they are struggling with one of 3 things. It is skill, strategy, or implementation, right? And so it is showing up in those 5 things that we talked about today. But you can get support with all of those with my digital course. Not only does it give you all of the skills that you need, right? It gives you a great strategy, and my support helps you with that implementation piece. So yes, today, you might have identified that you're making 5 major mistakes that are costing you big bucks in your business, but yes, you can solve them. And the little bonus tip that I was telling you about, that is to make sure that you are continuously growing your mindset. The way that you look at things, the perspective that you take, whether or not you are staying motivated or you're allowing yourself to be discouraged, whether you are showing up consistently or disappearing because you don't have the confidence that you need, whether you have an opportunity to talk to someone and you go right out there and promote your business, or you see a window and you kind of fall into the background, all of that is usually rooted in mindset. So if you are not consistently growing your mindset, you're gonna struggle in small business. And the reason for that is when you're starting out, you're probably not gonna have sales every day. You can definitely get there, 100% can get there, but when you first start out, you are planting seeds, you are watering seeds, you are pulling weeds, you are adding that fertilizer to the seeds. It takes some time to develop your business. And so while you're developing your business, you need to continuously develop you. When I think back to my first networking opportunities, the first times when I was talking about myself and my business, the first time I was promoting myself, I have come so far. And I'm saying this as an introvert, okay? So I'm not a person who is naturally going to be the first person that like walks in the room and starts talking to everybody. I wouldn't consider myself like a magnetic personality necessarily. So for me, it wasn't necessarily natural to go out there and talk about my business. Now, I found ways that work with my natural tendencies, but I also learned and grew and developed some additional skills. And with that came additional opportunities. I told you guys before how I sent one email and turned that into a $17,000 contract. I would not have been able to do that if I wasn't continuously growing my mind. Now, you're here, you're watching me on this video and you're learning and growing right now. That is great. But I'd also encourage you to go to seminars, to read books, and to be in conversation with other people who are going in the same direction as you. That is so, so critical. A few years back, I decided to get additional coaching certification. I already had a master's degree and I technically didn't need the certification, but I wanted to be around some people. And that has been such a benefit to me. Just being in community with people. I ended up making a good friend in that program that we ended up working together for probably another year or two after I finished the program. Like having those connections, having a community, please don't underestimate that. All of those things work together to create the growth in your mindset that you need that will project you forward. You will see that as you invest time and energy in growing your mind, you will also grow your money. So there you have it. Those are the 5, maybe 6 mistakes that you might be making as a small business owner that are keeping you from earning the money you actually deserve. And like I said, they are all totally fixable. So drop a comment below and let me know which one of these was you and what are you going to do about it today. Remember, today is a great day to make every day your payday.